Just wanted to make a real quick video today on a couple of lesser known data providers within Clay or integrations within Clay that can be particularly good for using for funding data. So pulling funding data, if you don't, say, for example, have access to Crunchbase, I mean, there are ways that you can actually use conditional formulas to pull the domains or the company names out of Crunchbase data and things like that, but it's not the scope of this video. I just wanted to show you three integrations, or rather two specific for funding, and then one's the third one that I'm actually just testing out at the moment. So I just wanted to bring some awareness to it, that's all. So like I said, super quick video, nothing major here. So the first one is PitchBook. So, you know, you probably maybe have heard of this, maybe you haven't, but this is specifically for funding data. So if you go to PitchBook, it's specifically for blocked in Belarus where I am. I have to put VPN on. So it's specifically for fundraising data or for, like VCs, venture capital, private equity, things like that. So empowering capital market professionals with what's next. Da, da, da. I'm not trying to sell their website or anything. It's just mainly just to kind of let you know, because sometimes you don't really realize the integrations that are sometimes on Clay. So I just want to bring awareness to some people to have a look and just so you can see, this is some of the data that gets pulled out. So it's got very specific employee count, tells you the status of it, finance status. So it tells you if it's like private equity backed or corporate backed or acquired, venture capital backed, where they are in terms of their latest deal type. It doesn't, however, tell you the deal types, which is why I'll move on to the second one in just a second. And then it's got very specific in terms of like the primary industry. Now, the reason why you might use this is, again, just to get further data. You could obviously also use Claygent as well, but this is just another example of probably one that you haven't maybe used as much within Clay, but I suppose if you deal with funding, maybe you have heard of it or not. I think it is relatively popular, but yeah, it's within Clay and you can use it. It does cost 3 credits per return result, so it's not cheap in that sense. The next one is Harmonic, which is also specific for, harmonic.ai. Which I think I've mentioned before on the channel, but this is mainly for startups. So this is discovering sort of tech startups specifically. So it's very, very specific in that sense. But yeah, this is just so you get a sense, this is the data you actually get to pull. So, none of this for me right now is per se that useful. I'm just sort of playing around with it, but I, again, just wanted to bring some awareness. What would be actually quite good is to couple this, so where I get the information about their latest funding round, and then when they actually had the funding round, so what stage they are from here, and then when they actually had their funding round here. So funding stage, pre-seed, and then when they actually had their last funding round. Here we also obviously have the latest deal type and financing status. But here, if you merge these two things and then basically get GPT or Claygent, to pull a summary of this, you could say like what stage they're at, when they last got funding, and then you can pull that together, and then you could start to create a case or a form or a point of view, I suppose, to get some context and research on each of these companies. Obviously, it costs a little bit more. It's a bit more expensive in terms of credits. This too is also, actually, this is 4 credits per result. So it's a little bit more expensive, but here you can start to pull this information, but the data quality from stuff like this is a lot better. So you can start to pull stuff like this, and then you can build out your research as if, again, just as if you're doing it manually. So imagine you were to go into every single one of these companies and you were to research every one of these companies manually, or individuals manually, these people. Instead of doing that, we're able to pull this information using these different data sources and using Clay, using AI, etc., to basically play with the data. And then once we've got that, then we can start to craft our emails from there. But I'm just showing you different ideas or different data points that you can actually gather and different integrations within Clay that I don't see many people like making videos on them, kind of thing. So, and then the third one here is People Data Labs. So this is actually really expensive. It's 10 credits per result, but it gives you an awful lot of data here, you can see. But again, this is, we've never actually used this as part of our campaigns. I was just playing around with different integrations, and again, I don't think many people have really seen the inside of basically what data these things offer. So we've got the LinkedIn, we've got the Twitter, we've got the Facebook, LinkedIn again, we've got the funding stage, but it doesn't pull any information, subsidiaries, alternative names, tenure by role. Okay, so it's got interesting. So it's got some interesting data here on education, like different departments within the company and how long people are staying for in each one of those. There's got employee count per department, which is again is pretty useful. So you could see basically you could pull this information into GPT and ask it to analyze it and then come up with sort of like its own ideas on where it sees, like basically to do the research for you, essentially. So yeah, it's got some pretty cool. It's got some quite a lot of data points here actually. Employee count by month, interesting. So yeah, so it's got it's got a lot of data here. LinkedIn follower count. So yeah, so it's got employee count by country. Oh wow, it's even got specifics on the employee count by country. So you can actually then reference when you're reaching out, like where people are based, if they've got a highly remote, or you can see that maybe they've got more. More people in the United States or something. You can, again, depending on whatever angles that you've got, you can reference that if you want. You can see the departures, like, oh wow, this is actually pretty cool data, I'm not gonna lie. You can see when they had like a lot of departures. I'm not sure how they're getting this data, and I'm not sure exactly how accurate it is, but considering the fact that it's 10 credits, I'm going to hypothesize that it is probably quite accurate and quite good. I'd be surprised if it's not for that amount. But yeah, so you can just kind of get a sense for the behind the scenes, I suppose, on some of these different data providers that maybe people don't talk about as much, or I just genuinely don't see, you know, in other people's content. So I just wanted to kind of shine a light on those. Feel free to experiment. This was really just shining a light and opening up your eyes to other integrations within Clay. Feel free to use this however you want to use it. Yeah, I hope this video was somewhat useful. If you want us to help you with any of your Clay stuff, feel free to book in a call. We can automate all your sales, outbound, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, feel free to book in a call in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.